All right, we are live. Look, it is Let's Talk Football with Sha'Niece and friends. We got a lot to talk about. The 2023 season is over. The regular season is done, and we are talking Wildcard weekend with my boy Brian. Part of an American team. Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself and
Listen, my team needs no introduction. The team you love to hate. NFC champions. Philly gave it to us. Really, Philly really gave. Well, no, it's a mix. Either we gave it to us, they gave it to us, or we took away from them. But it'd be either or. But Dallas Cowboys fan since the starter jackets. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I might actually get one. No cap. And I definitely
even
get
if
mad.
you got it.
Yeah, definitely gonna get mad one. Definitely. But
well, look, I'll be honest. Some of the started, even the Giants ones that they were giving out, they did this one. They gave the Ed Lover for the
you talking about the red with the blue letters?
So no, not that one. There's another one that LT and them gave for the 50 years of hip hop. They did one that Ed Lover, who's a big Giants fan. Those starter joints go so hard. And I've seen a few different teams. I'm like, they all go hard.
Listen, any starter jacket, honestly, right now, the way they rebranded is so hard, especially that Houston Oilers, that Carolina blue red. Dope.
No, I haven't seen one where I'm like all of them I've seen go super hard. But look, you kind of started it off. NFC East champs, y'all got the number one side. So let's jump right into how do you feel your Cowboys did in the regular season? Before we jump into playoffs, but regular season, what are you feeling?
There were only, of course, the San Fran game. I would say the San Fran game and the Miami game were the only games. And in Buffalo. Those are only three games where I feel like, okay, we are there, but we need to, like, if we punch them in the mouth before they punch us in the mouth, I feel like we can go back and forth. But we got to hit first. We have to, whether it's on offense or defense, whether it's a sack or an interception or a pick six or a touchdown. Like, we have to score first. You know what I mean? I think for Dak has played the best football I have ever seen this season. Like, and I'm not trying to fall like being biased and anything like that. I will vote him for the MVP. I really
absolutely. I 100% disagree, but go ahead. I think he can be in the conversation, but I'll tell you why. But I'll let you go.
I can't make Lamar unanimous again. I don't know. It's going. Listen, I would not be shocked if people sit back, close their eyes, don't look, and the reason, and one of the reasons, and probably I'm gonna get back on track.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why he may not get like really voting like that is only because he's a Cowboy. But if you look at the stats,
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I disagree, but I'm gonna let you go ahead. But I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. Since we're here.
Yes, if you look at the stats and you just look at it and be like, Dak did say he guaranteed. I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions. He threw 9. He threw over 4,700 yards, 36 touchdowns. I mean, number 2 seed versus number 1 seed, AFC North, NFC East. Playoffs got going through Baltimore. Playoffs could possibly run through Dallas. So it's like, But I think the key games is going to be the Buffalo game and that Miami game for Dak.
So here's where I disagree. And I disagree because when I look at MVP, if I was a voter, right? Like you said, if you had a vote, you would vote Dak. Okay. Based off of, like you said, your conclusions. If I had a vote, the reason why, like I said, I think Dak is in the conversation because he is having such an outstanding year.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to say, here's the thing, if we want to make it a QB award, which I think they eventually need to decide if they're going to do that. Personally,
Yeah.
I think they have to decide if they're going to make this the MVP a QB award, because when we have these conversations, when we use stats, which now people are trying to skew the whole using stats conversation when it comes to Lamar, because yes, Dak has better numbers. But when you look at Lamar Jackson, he has a better record. His strength of it, well, I don't want to say strength of schedule, right? Because it's not college. But if you look at the opponents and who he has played and outplayed and beaten, then you also look at, for me, it is value. I have never thought if Dak goes down or if something happens to Dak, Dallas is done for. Because we all, you and I both had the conversation. Let's not forget what happened last year when he was injured for 4 games.
And we saw Cooper Rush.
Exactly. Cooper Rush was what, 4-1 or 3-1 without him?
Yep, 4-1, and that one L was against Philly.
Against Philly, right? And when you look at it again, even Jerry has said, "I like a little controversy." You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And I'm not, and again, that does not take away from what Dak did this year. But when I look at, well, who is Lamar beat versus who Dak beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at some of the teams that Dak beat. It's hard to be like, we put up all these great numbers, like, yeah, but look what he did against Carolina. Carolina is one of the worst teams in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain, look at the Commanders game. It's like, they're the, what, second or third worst team in the NFL, right? Like, there were some games where Dak looked spectacular, but look who he was playing. Whereas Lamar has embarrassed Detroit. Dak didn't embarrass Detroit. Lamar embarrassed San Francisco.
And
out of that there.
And Miami.
And right. And like dog Miami.
Made grown men look foolish.
Foolish.
Foolish man look foolish. Crazy.
Like and we can't, like I said, we can't say the same thing about both, because that's how I look at this MVP thing. I'm like, if we're gonna make it a quarterback award based off of stats and numbers, then they need to change the name of this award. But when we talk about valuable players, my first thought is who holds the most value of that team. So if this person was removed, do you think that team could still win in the same manner? If Lamar Jackson made headlines for why he was not signed last year this time, because it was like, hey, Ravens, quit playing around. You know you need Lamar. We all agree, right? I'm saying, when I look at MVP, I've been talking about Christian McCaffrey. We've talked about Christian McCaffrey. Look at how San Francisco was good, but Christian made that offense better.
Way better.
So much so that even in that NFC Championship game, once it started to get down, y'all was like, hey, we about to put Christian in the Wildcat, because he's that good of a player that y'all like, look, we're gonna let him throw it.
I think him and I would either say either him by himself or him and Tariq is going to share Offensive Player of the Year.
Right. Very, very much so, right? Because when you think of those teams, when those elements are not in the game, are they the difference maker? Are they the most valuable? And again, this is not to take away from Dak's year. And I think the reason why you keep him in the conversation is because that connection between him and CD has become so automatic. And again, CeeDee Lamb, I think if there was like a player who has gone from good to damn near great. I'm not, and the reason why I don't put CD in great is because number one, he's still very young in his career. He hasn't signed his deal, and we don't know what that looks like over time. But CD has been able to break, I think there was whatever that Cowboys record was, I think receiving yards in a year or something like that.
Mike Irvin's.
Right, broke Michael Irvin's record and stuff like that, right? Like, so he is definitely, I think the return on investment for CD is definitely there because we weren't having the same conversation 2 years ago.
No.
We weren't even having the same conversation last year.
We sure won't.
Last year, we were sitting there like, is he? Like, y'all was ready to rip the 88 off that man's back.
I knew he was top 10. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he jumped this high.
Yes,
because he's right behind, in my humble opinion, he's right behind Tariq.
I think he's in that mix. That Tyreek,
he's definitely top 5. Well, he's definitely top 3 at the end of the season.
I would say he'll. I think statistically he'll probably end up landing in definitely in the top 5 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think, and going back to as far as the season, I think our defense was solid. Our defense was our defense. Man, listen, the refs hate Michael Parsons. They hate him. They must hate him. He must have said something slick at the mouth or something, because this man is being held every single play. It's insane at this point. But I think shout out to Darren Bland, the most pick sixes in NFL history. I think he led the picks by 12 or 13, I want to say, this season. So I won't be shocked if he be considered for a defensive player of the year, because
I think that's going to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, it's probably gonna go to Myles, but 6 pick sixes, you can't. That's actually impressive. And we have been doing this without Trayvon Diggs, and I love that. But I think where we go from here to move on to the wild card, to the playoffs, I love our chances. The only roadblock of obviously is San Fran. Maybe,
but I'll go into that next. But go ahead.
San Fran. If I had to add another one, maybe Detroit. Other than that, easy like Sunday morning. Because I'm not worried about Philly anymore. Philly in so many ways, and I may be jinxing myself, knock on wood, Philly has been almost like a career suicide type thing. 1-5.
Yeah, December was not their month.
Everybody didn't get a good Christmas.
Yeah,
everybody had a lump of coal in their stocking.
Yeah, it was a very tough December. I think between them and the Jags are two that, but I will give them credit. Both the Jags and the Eagles are in very similar situation, which is their quarterback is hurt. And I think that they've absolutely been hiding Jalen's injury while at the same time expecting him to carry the team. And I just don't think they took care of Trevor Lawrence. My man literally walked on cement in cleats. Like, that was people almost it did not even matter if he's injured or not. Like, the way he was walking on, like, that was just the craziest thing I had ever seen. So I will give them that. Their quarterback is obviously hurt, and Jalen, he dislocated his throwing, one of his fingers in his throwing wrist. So like, those guys are obviously hurt. But yeah, the spiral is absolutely out of control. It wasn't on my bingo card.
Exactly, and I told you this. I told you this weeks ago. I said I would not be surprised if the little Giants drink that Space Jam juice, and you thought I was playing. I said Look, any given Sunday, I told you. Look,
Tyrod said, "Look, if this is the last time I'm wearing a Giants uniform, I'm going off.
I'm going on with a bang, for real, for
I'm
real.
going off."
And I look back, I'm like, man, it's kind of like I want to at least be competitive and lose, but don't. It's almost like they folded.
Oh, absolutely. Though they folded like a long. They folded like you remember them old school lawn chairs you used to take to the beach that fold one way and this way. Like
Yes,
they folded on all things.
yes. The legs and all, like what are we doing? But I think we got Green Bay. We'll put up a fight. We're not going. I feel like we're not gonna. I personally feel like the Arizona game and that Philly game is those games where we thought like, okay, we're gonna put up a fight, but we're gonna let off the gas a little bit. I really felt like that Buffalo game, Miami game, we knew like, okay, we're gonna put up a fight, do what we gotta do, may the best team win, kind of thing. But I think that Arizona game taught us do not sleep on a living team. So with Green Bay coming up and possibly playing
I mean, it could be
Philly,
Detroit, LA, or Philly.
Philly or LA, I'm not. I just need, and I know this is probably wishful thinking. I just need Detroit to go to San Fran and shock the world. That's all I need. That's
So,
all.
so here's my take
This
on
is it.
Dallas.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, here's the thing. I agree with you. I do think Dallas, through their heavier part of the season, their gauntlet came out. To be honest, they came out where I expected them. You know what I'm saying? Like we knew Buffalo was against the wall. We talked about
Mhm.
that. We knew Miami was also against the wall. They were playing for playoff seeding. Same thing with Detroit, right? Like we knew that part of this in Philly at the time, even though I think Philly, that was kind of the start of their demise. And I think Philly honestly just spent most of their payload. And I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I think they played hard when y'all went up there. I think then they had Kansas City and the Buffalo. I think by the time y'all roll back around and stuff, they were spent. In my personal opinion, like they looked. I mean, even Kelsey look as a center, like he looks spent. But I would say that the part of the last part of y'all schedule, this December stretch, looked about what I expected. Where I think Dallas, where I think Dallas has to be cautious is with the way the Bucks are playing. I actually think y'all probably should have wanted that 5 seed because the Bucks look like what we expected them to look like. Green Bay is fiery. Green Bay is fiery. And though I have Dallas winning this Green Bay game this weekend, I also am a firm believer like Dallas, when it comes to these winning teams, like teams with winning records, Dallas isn't blowing anyone out. Dallas isn't playing teams with winning records in the same, like the way y'all played in Miami looks vastly different from how you played Washington this past weekend, right? Like Dallas clearly, when it comes to level competition, it can go either or. And a lot of the scores have been literally a field goal, a touchdown away. Y'all haven't
a 1 point.
right or 1 point, right? You know what I'm saying? So y'all, here's where I think the challenge comes with Dallas. You know, like you talk about San Francisco and stuff. The difference between the San Francisco and the Ravens, similar to last year when it was Kansas City and the Eagles, they're really honestly playing in a different league right now. They're playing very lights out. And they have time to get healthy. And that, to me, specifically with San Francisco, can be a problem. And I think even if they go and see the Ravens or anybody in the AFC again, where I see all of the other teams, in my opinion, including Dallas, I don't think Dallas has the ability to sleep on a Green Bay because they playing with house money.
Oh, listen.
They don't care.
Jordan Love ain't got nothing to lose.
He has nothing. There's nothing at stake. Nobody is going to bat an eye if this boy wins or lose.
If I go to Dallas, I just play ball, win, lose, or draw. I'm good.
They all right. Matt LaFleur ain't finna lose his job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Correct.
You can't sleep on Green Bay. You can't sleep on Detroit or LA. Philly, if anything, Philly and if for some reason the Bucks upset them, whatever, like both of those teams, it literally can go either way.
Yeah.
And do I think if Philly comes back to Dallas or vice versa, or y'all play in the playoffs, we're going to see the same team? Honestly, the way it really is going to be based off of the health of Jalen Hurts, and that's just, we know that. But I would just say I haven't
and AJ Brown.
And oh yeah, I just saw that. You're right. Mm-hmm. I just haven't seen anything with Dallas specifically in this December stretch that has me thinking they're gonna just breeze through up to the NFC Championship game. Do I think Dallas can, based off of their path? Yes, I do. I think Dallas has it, but there hasn't been a stretch with Dallas that we've seen where they've played good teams back to back to back, and we're in the playoffs. Everybody's good except the South. Everybody's good except the South.
Absolutely.
And you're now talking about, think about this entire season y'all had, right? Regular season versus playoff. You're now talking about a Dallas team that's going to have to go back to back with teams that, again, Green Bay is on fire. They just made it into the playoffs. Same thing with LA. We didn't even think LA was going to be able to touch the playoffs. We thought it would more than likely be Seattle. And now LA is in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Detroit is out here trying to prove something to the world.
Detroit,
the world, and they got a crazy ass coach behind them to do.
Yeah, bro. Listen, run through a brick wall for that man, for real.
And Detroit's a tough city. To me, Detroit has that style of play similar to an AFC, like a Browns or a Steelers. Like, they're a tough team. They're going to smack you in the face. They're going to play it's in the trenches. That's going to be a game in the trenches. So I think, again, I do agree with you. I do think Dallas can beat Green Bay. And I think this is a road to the NFC Championship game that is going to be, I think it may be an easier road, but we just look. I saw LA. The LA y'all play early in the season ain't the same LA. Green Bay, again, they playing with house money. Win, lose, draw. They legitimately do not give a damn. So I do, and again, y'all do have the advantage of home, but this is the playoffs. And I think, to me, I would have confidence in Dallas if we looked at them the same way we look at the number 2 seed in the AFC. Right. I do think Dallas and Buffalo are similar in the fact of, like, they do have the most to prove. Josh Allen has a hell of a lot to prove. He started off really weak. They just got hot. I think, Buffalo has a little bit of an advantage because Buffalo been in playoff mode. They've been in playoff mode. Because remember, after that Philly win, they only had one more and they was out. Hell, at the beginning of Sunday, there were scenarios where they could have been just out of it before kickoff, right? So I do think Dallas has a chance. I do have Dallas as winning against Green Bay, but I don't know if I could see it either way, and I think it's going to be a good game. And it's playoffs. I don't think any of them. Micah could go on his podcast and say we got the and then on Monday it's going to be Dallas. So I think Dallas as a team can't lean, and I think Dak said it, like, you can't lean on, we home and we always win at home. It's playoffs, baby. Y'all lost at home in the playoffs 2 years ago to San Francisco. You can't lean on it.
We lost to the same San Francisco team. You know what I mean? And we need that revenge. We have to. It's a lot of homecomings this weekend too.
Okay.
Matt go back to Detroit.
Yeah.
McCarthy versus Green Bay. You know what I mean? You got Browns versus Houston, even though Deshaun is hurt. You have a lot of homecomings. Tariq versus
Yeah, going to Kansas City. Whew. I think they're gonna get whooped. I'm sorry.
Oh, Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, listen. I I wasn't see, all this old, kind of moving on to the AFC side now. Like I'm not. I wasn't really so much worried about Pat Mahomes. I wasn't.
Mm.
I wasn't. I don't know. And I mean, I get it. Taylor Swift and people can't. The receivers can't catch a cold, let alone the ball. Kadarius Tony, and Kadarius Tony. Hey, listen, y'all drafted him. Y'all,
And we
y'all,
was like, so you can go ahead and log off. Let's go ahead and get
and
these
listen,
draft picks, bro. You go
y'all
do what you
drafted him, and y'all traded him for a bag of hot fries and some Skittles.
And granted, he got a ring. Ain't not gonna take away what he did
Got a
last year
ring.
in the Super Bowl, but this year, my man was
They stole this. Hey, the Monstars stole this talent.
absolutely that juice wore out.
It's just was what it is. Like you can't catch a cold. You don't know how to draw. You line up off sides, and
It's just a constant fool. Yeah, you know, it's very interesting. Like I said, with that game, I think Wildcard Weekend will be good. I think we're going to get some really good games. We're going to get some grinder games. We're going to get some down to the whoever has the last possession games. I think there are some that we kind of know are automatic, and that's the one I have on my automatic. But before we go there, I want to go through the rest of the East really quickly. We talked a little bit about Philly. Philly came in at 2. We both kind of said the same sentiments. As far as my Giants, we are definitely in a very interesting space, specifically when it comes to the QB and the draft. One thing I love about what I have seen with my team this year, though it didn't look the way we wanted it to. Number one, I think we have a lot of good pieces and we have to keep building. We have to just build off it. Number two, I believe in Coach Daboll. In Daboll, we trust. I think a coach who has shown 2 years in a row what he can do with nothing, with no real wide receiver one, with only one good quarterback, going through 3 quarterbacks this year. And I mean, at one point it looked like a damn spades deck. I don't know what we had going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, we Coach Daboll is what I think any NFL franchise would want, which is, I want a coach, if he can do all of this with nothing, what can he do when he can get that team together? What can we do when we have maybe a Daniel Jones and Jalen Hyatt starting to connect a lot better, right? Like, what can we do when we do get that second back? Right. I definitely think we have to get another running back. Like, that's just not even it, whether, Saquon stays or goes. I would love for him to be a forever Giant, but we have to get a second back in there. He doesn't have enough tread on the tires for us to keep treating him the way he is.
Y'all need that thunder and lightning back.
Right.
That's been working for y'all. That's been working for New York Football Giants since the beginning of time. Y'all always been great in a 2-back system.
Exactly. And we have to, right? And similar to y'all, like, regardless of where you end, Dallas got to get that run game back.
Absolutely.
And I know that we talked about it before the trade deadline, right? But there are pieces that I think my Giants still need. But what we have to be, and I'm okay with this part of the process, which is we have to get back to being competitive in the East. We have to be back to getting competitive into the East. We can't keep going to Dallas and going to Philly knowing that's an automatic L. We can't. And yes, getting this win this past weekend. Now, granted, Philly was starting to rest folks and all that stuff. I don't care. We got to win over Philly, and that felt great. We have to go back to being competitive in the East, because remember, me and you talked about it earlier in the season, which was like, where are those Giants Cowboys games where you like, hey,
it could be It can go
anyway.
to the wire. Like
And we knew it was going to be a match. It was going to be a
Romo
rematch.
versus Eli,
Eli.
you had Dez versus Victor Cruz. Like
It,
it
but
go
we
either
knew.
it go either way.
Right, like, but we knew those division games, like those were prime time. Everybody wanted to see because of the division rivalry. We have to be able to get back to that. Daniel Jones can't have the resume he has where he's 12-1 in prime time games. He can't have a resume where Dak completely owns him. The last time we beat the Cowboys was with Eli Manning. That has to end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
we know we have Daniel Jones for next year. We know that. Now, when is he going to start based off his injury? We don't know. But where I trust, like I said, for me, I look more of it on a coaching and a culture standpoint. We now have that in place. We just got to get the players. And I can see what Brian Daboll has brought to the organization, and that I do feel good about. And we'll talk draft a little later, but we didn't, Dayball said it. We didn't end where we wanted to, but they never gave up that fight. We had nothing to play for, but it was Philly and we was going to go ham, right? And we did. And I honestly believe, and this on the record, even if Jalen was playing, we was going to win that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even if Jalen played all 4 quarters, we were going to win that game.
Y'all emptied the tank.
Yeah.
Y'all left it all on the field. Y'all knew like, hey, this is it. Come Monday, we going home.
We all going home. Ain't no extra check like last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And remember last year we were working, we were moving a lot better. Daniel Jones was able to get us through. And that unfortunately, because Daniel was supposed to be that second rush attack, which that's not what we really need him to do. Even last year when we were going into the playoff, that we was just all on revenge. That Vikings game was our Super Bowl. Like that, we just needed to be like, we needed to get that 61-yard field goal out of our mouth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was it. We knew Philly. We let it all out in the Vikings game, right? But I jokingly say all of that, but I do believe in the pieces we have. We are still in that pressure cooker. But my big thing is like, hey, use this Philly game to come back, do what we got to do in the draft, do what we got to do in off season, because the fact of the matter is the Giants have to be back to being competitive in the East, period. Because Jalen ain't going nowhere. Dak more than likely ain't going nowhere. This is what we got to go look at. So, and Washington on more of a rebuild than us. So that's where I'm at with my Giants. In the season, and my playoff hopes was dashed after the Raiders game when Daniel Jones went down for real. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, let's just do our best.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know y'all love some Daniel Jones, but I told you this off camera. You gotta start him, man. You gotta start DeVito. He the hometown kid. He has nothing to lose. Everybody loves him.
Well, with Daniel's contract, we are stuck with him till the end of next year. But I will be honest. I think next year will be his last year. Yeah. I think next year is going to be his last year. And and it's solely because that's not who Daboll drafted. Mm-hmm. When he did have his first draft class, we extended his fifth year option, and he worked and earned his check. He got to the playoffs and won a playoff game, right? But I think the quarterback that Daboll is looking for, I think the reason why they extended Daniel to that fifth year option is because he didn't see it. Mm-hmm. I don't think he saw it in the field. Yeah. And I truly believe that as far as the QB room, DeVito's young. I think he's a quarterback you keep, you develop. Mm-hmm. I think Tyrod is a very good backup, but we are trying to make room for the future. Yep. We got to get Tyrod out of there. And again, thank you for your service. I thank you for your service. And I know why Tyrod is there, right? Like he was in Buffalo with Daboll, so he knew what he can be as a backup. But I think we have to make room in that QB room for the future of the Giants, because I know Giants fans. I know our fan base. The clock is ticking on how long we want to continue to tolerate Daniel Jones. And I'll be honest, even if we were to be in a position next year going into the playoffs, win, lose, or draw, it won't matter, because if we still keep getting rocked by Dallas and rocked by Philly, like, let's keep it a buck. If we get rocked by Dallas and rocked by Philly, even if we make the playoffs last year, because that's what we did last year, that's not it. It's similar to Dallas. There are just standards. There are standards and expectations to certain teams. People look at the Giants, the Steelers, the Cowboys, Buffalo. There are certain standards they're expecting with their quarterbacks and their player. Green Bay, you know what I'm saying? Like San Francisco, there are certain expectations that Houston, Titans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they just don't understand.
Bro, let's move on to AFC side.
You know what I'm saying? So,
bro, like, cause
yeah, let's jump into the wild card. Let's talk matchups. Let's talk AFC. Let's talk it all. I'm gonna pop the brackets up as well, so we know we're talking about what we're looking at. But yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead.
CJ Stroud.
Woo!
He took a team that was basically in the sunken place. Because think about it, because you had a petty coach, Bill O'Brien. He traded D-Hop for nothing. You let JJ Watt walk, go to Arizona, and you was trying to hold on to Deshaun Watson due to other, BS or whatever. A rookie took that team with a rookie head coach to the playoffs, and the Browns got to go to Houston.
That's gonna be a good game.
Listen, if there's any team that caught fire at the right time, it will be the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a rookie quarterback, just like with
the Colts. Think about it. Gardner Minshew was starting, but that wasn't their. They had a rookie QB.
Correct. Same thing over, even though he's not a rookie. Same thing over with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
You have both teams on both in different conferences that have caught fire around that 15, 16, and 17 week.
Yep.
And going into the playoffs, that's a scary team. So I won't be. I think CJ will put up a hell of a fight, but I think the Browns defense would be too much for him because Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett, of course. So I got the Browns advancing. Of course, Tariq go back home to Kansas City. It's going to be cold. Tua is not used to the cold, nor he should not be used to the cold.
They said it's supposed to be 0 degrees with a -17 wind chill.
I said this at the beginning of the season. If Miami goes to the playoffs, they have to be the number 1 seed.
Yes, I do remember you saying that. I do agree. Yes.
They have to be the number 1 seed. Why? Weather. That is it.
And most of the teams that they would be playing in the
AFC in the cold.
are outdoor. Because think about it. Look at this lineup. Every single team is outside except Texas.
Yeah.
Everyone's outside. And everyone's outside in the cold. The warmest of these teams is Baltimore.
And the coldest is Buffalo.
Right.
So
the warmest is Baltimore.
I put it like this. If and only if Tua can just, I don't know, because Tariq, the only person that's used to the cold is Tariq.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. If Tariq can just tell Tua, hey, bro, it's mind over matter. Let's just go ahead and play ball, blah, 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 do our thing. If they can pull off the upset, hey, listen, I will clap, give them a standing ovation because
And I'm tagging our homeboy Dez like, bruh, y'all got it.
correct. And that means you got to go from Kansas City to perhaps either Pittsburgh or Buffalo.
Well, wouldn't they go to, since they're the no, sorry, no, Buffalo is the number 2 seed. My bad, I forgot.
Buffalo number 2 seed because they beat.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, the road to the playoffs of the AFC is outside.
Yeah, it's through
Like they outside.
Baltimore. Now, I have, I mean, I got Pat Mahomes winning that. Steelers and Buffalo.
So can I say, let me tell you my take on Steelers Buffalo before you.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers Buffalo game is going to be determined off of how well or how bad Josh Allen plays.
Facts.
That's really true. And here's the reason why I say this. Last year they played Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow drove the first drive, drove down the field and set the tone. But that's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the Steelers, we know the type of team they are. We know the type of defense they're gonna play, even though they're missing TJ Watt, or I think it may still be questionable whether TJ's gonna play or not. But
that was the dumbest shit that the Pittsburgh Steelers could have ever done.
Like why?
Bro, you got the sacks. You got your money. You got your bonus.
Like, what do we like? You know what I'm saying? So you know the type of team that the Steelers are going to be, but their quarterback is not a difference maker like Josh Allen. And the way that Josh plays, it is going to especially after watching the Miami game, I'm like, they're going to win or lose based off Josh, not the Steelers personally. Mm-hmm. They're going to win or lose that game based off of whether Josh Allen does very well or if he does not. He will lose that game, not the Steelers winning it. That's my take.
I think I do agree with you. But one thing I'm not going to doubt is Mike Tomlin in the playoffs. And Mike Tomlin, I trust. This is coming from a Cowboys fan who is like the rivalry Cowboys still. I'm not going to doubt Mike Tomlin. This man has won the season ever since he became the Steelers head coach.
Future
over 500, gone to the playoffs multiple times. He got a ring. I think he has a formula for how to stop Josh Allen.
Okay.
And just like Detroit, just like Cleveland, hard hat, lunch pail, punch in, punch out.
Yeah.
And just like I said about Dallas, with going to early in the Dallas in the season, you have to punch them in the mouth. And I really feel like if you punch Josh Allen square in the face, he will fold.
You got to get him out of his game.
You have to. You have to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah. You got to let him make stupid plays. You got to let him feel he has to play hero ball. Because as soon as Josh Allen feels like he got to be a hero, it's downhill from there. Like if I was a Buffalo fan, I'd be like,
yes,
got to say today.
So from that being said, I have the Steelers with the upset.
Ooh, so that okay.
I have the Steelers with the upset because, like I said, unless Josh Allen drinks the juice, it's iffy.
Yeah, I would say if there's any game where there would be an upset, I do agree it would be that Steelers game. But again, it wouldn't be the Steelers beating Buffalo. It would be Josh Allen beating Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be Josh Allen beating
his own team.
Yeah.
How?
That's really going to be it. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about like the Dolphins had literally more than enough opportunities to have beaten.
Oh, absolutely.
And they didn't. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So I think it is going to be down to, I think this Buffalo Steelers game is going to look similar to the Miami game where it's like, what is Josh Allen on today? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he on? And that's really how it's going to be. And just to close out the AFC, similar, I feel the same way. I think Tyreek has to get into the mind of Tua. Like you said, it's got to be that mind over matter. get me the ball, make good decisions. If you don't see it, throw it away. You know what I'm saying? Like Tua again is not the difference maker until he gets it into Tyreek or Waddle, or like he has to get it in other folks' hands. But I think with Kansas City, those elements will be hard for almost any of these teams, right? But the other teams are more built for it, whereas Miami just isn't. And I don't think there is enough clever play calling that you can overcome weather and elements that your team just isn't built for, specifically your quarterback. So like you, I don't even think Kansas City is going to have to do anything spectacular. And to be honest, I don't think Kansas City has anything in the tank to do anything spectacular. I have yet to see, and maybe it's me, I have yet to see anything spectacular out of Patrick Mahomes, and it is partly because of his supporting cast. And I think there's too much that's put on Patrick Mahomes to just be amazing and make everybody amazing, no matter how terrible they are. That buck stops. Like it only gets you but so far, because this is a team sport. This ain't track and field. This ain't even basketball, where it's like, look, if you at least got two of them that are shooting lights out, you can win a game. It's football. It's totally different. And I think if anything with Kansas City, I don't see them even making it to the AFC championship game, to be completely honest. If they do it, I would be legitimately shocked. But if they don't make it, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like I would be shocked if they made it to the AFC. But at the end of the season, regardless of where Kansas City stops, they know the first thing they need to do, and that's get Patrick Mahomes weapons.
Absolutely.
Period. They have to get him weapons.
The first order of business, get D-Hop by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised that I'm very, very.
They should be texting right now. Hey, big head.
Yeah, bro. No, I'm very shocked that, like, would I have loved for us to get D-Hop? Yeah. But the way that CD was playing, I'm kind of glad we did. I'm surprised Pat Mahomes and I go to their front office like, hey, I need DeAndre.
Hey, y'all.
I don't need him in Tennessee. Tennessee's about to go into a sunken place because Derrick Henry's about to be on his way out.
My man gave a whole thank you for the 8 years
speech. He's like, I'm not coming back.
I'm cleaning out my locker. I'm putting on my out of office email. He's gone.
Dear football guys, we need a running back.
No, come up to New York.
We need
come up to New York.
Like
we got room.
Football guys, Tony Pollard is not it.
Ooh,
he is lightning.
Said
it. He is lightning. We need thunder. Derrick Henry is thunder. He is thunder. He's your modern day Brandon Jacobs. We need him with the star.
No, we need him. He needs to be a giant. He wants to
like,
be another giant.
I'm letting you know this right now.
If it's me and you playing spades over, I'll go toe to toe. We can play Uno. If I could, no, we need him. If
my cousin, probably by relation, I don't know, because everybody last name Henry is big as hell.
That might be your cousin.
Anybody last name Henry, they are big or tall or big and tall. It's either one of the three. If he put that star on his helmet next season,
I know it's a buy-in.
I
know it's a buy-in.
Just go ahead. Just give us a title. I mean, shit.
Especially
if we can keep CD and Micah under contract. Shit.
That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough, especially if y'all make it to that NFC Championship game. But we're gonna get onto the left side. But I
will say this:
Kansas City, that their first order of business is offense.
I'm telling Kadarius Toney, go ahead and clock out for me. You would not be back. I'm gonna have that talk with Travis.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, look, dog, we get it. It's Taylor. I mean, I understand. Can you tell her not to come to the games, dog?
Yeah.
Just tell her to stay home.
And I mean, look,
Just tell
Travis, they said Travis Kelce first of all, he makes more money off the field in commercials and endorsements than he even does in his actual paycheck. He doesn't need football. He's got his 2 rings. He's going into the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's
Yeah.
definitely a future Hall of Famer. I think I see, and he's what, 35, 36?
So
You really only got about maybe 1 more year on them tires.
see, I'm sitting sideways on this. So I'm about to say,
And I'm not trying to be an ageist, but I'm not saying Travis needs to, I think he still has another good season in him. Pushing to.
if
But
I would say this: if you were the front office,
Kansas City.
uh-huh,
Okay.
and let's be honest, Travis Kelce is your weapon,
Yes.
and Pat loved Travis, and Travis loves Pat.
Yeah.
But you're right. Travis is 34, 35 years old.
Yep.
With 2 rings and getting paid more than his NFL contract. And has Taylor
Change
Swift,
the way tight ends look.
and has Taylor Swift for a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Do you draft another tight end? Do you draft another tight end for the future? Or you trade him?
I'm not trading him. And the reason why I think is because of the 2 rings. You keep that man respectably as a chief, right? Let him retire, let him leave as a chief within reason, within about a year or 2. And I'm getting a tight end maybe 3rd round because I want somebody behind him.
And I want
to develop. I want a tight end that can fit in, that can learn, that goes to that tight end. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that, but I'm not going to go high round. They need outside weapons.
Oh yeah, but
I say 3rd. If you see one you really want that kind of maybe at 3rd round, I would.
I'm putting it like this: either if I can't find like Brock Bowers, I know we're going to talk about the draft, but Brock Bowers is the best tight end, probably one of the best players coming out in the draft from the University of Georgia. He's the way I think the last time I checked, he's supposed to be going to New England.
Okay.
If I could find another one of him in the 2nd or 3rd round, then that can play just like that, that can plug and play right then and there, I'm doing it.
Absolutely. Like I said, I would say 3rd-ish. You know what I'm saying? According to where you are, where your position, like, I don't remember exactly, I don't know where they are. And obviously with them being in the playoffs, right? We don't know where they would be, but I'm not 1st round. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely, I see what's in that, like you said, late 2nd, early 3rd, according to where you are positioned in the 2nd or 3rd. Oh, absolutely.
But
you have to find his replacement.
But if I can't find anything, I'm having that talk with him.
Here's one I would go at.
And only reason I'm having that talk with him is the fact that he's 34, 35 years old.
Oh, yeah.
If he was 30, 31, we would not be having this conversation. The fact that you are in your mid-30s.
Yeah.
And honestly, Denver back in the day had the same talk with Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
He went to Baltimore, got himself a ring. Went back, tried to have a farewell tour with Denver again. Didn't work out. Went ahead and retired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
no, I'm 100. I'm 100. And I think with Travis is in a different spot than I think if Shannon was in the same position nowadays, he'd probably be doing the exact same thing, right? Doing the podcasts and doing all right. Because Shannon made it very clear, especially, going back to Denver, like he wanted to get in broadcast and he was able to be successful. So I would say that's probably the best compare and contrast is a Shannon Sharp to Travis Kelce. The difference is that Travis already got all the outside deals and this, like Travis is set up after the NFL that right now with his age, if he plays the next season or 2, and again, if I'm Kansas City front office, at best, At best,
And,
I'm keeping you for 2. And that's
and
based off of contract and what that money look like.
that part, and to add to this, I know we go to Black
Yeah.
Monday. Um, I'm I will give him the only 2 players I would give for Kansas City, even though I know they're gonna keep one. He's gonna be the chief for life. Um, I'm having that talk with Travis, and I'm telling him, hey, I'm going to release you so you can go anywhere you want. I'm not going to trade you.
Mm,
Just like how JJ, I'm going
okay.
to release you. You've been a service to Kansas City for years. You got us rings. You've had what 8 or 9 1,000-yard seasons,
Yep.
standing ovation. You know what I
Your
mean?
gold jacket is measured.
Correct. You're the best tight. You and Tony G are the best tight ends in Chief history.
Yep.
Period. You might get a statue. You'll be in the
Oh,
ring
yeah.
of honor. You'll be in the ring of honor, and you're definitely getting the gold jacket in a couple of
Ab
years after you retire. So you
absolutely. Like, all of those things.
yeah,
I agree.
but yeah, but Baltimore. I mean, listen, as long as number 8 is back there making grown man that pay bills look foolish. I mean,
Imma say something, and it's the truth, but
and,
Imma
and,
say
and,
it, Imma
and
say
then
it.
and then on top of that, you got. I mean, you have Zay Flowers, but guess what? You still have number 3 on the other end, and you still have to respect him. Don't matter if he got a knee and a half, a ACL and a half. It doesn't matter. He is OBJ. He is guaranteed at his age,
Yeah,
at this stage in his life, he is guaranteed at least one big play.
absolutely.
And that's all he needs.
Yeah, and that's
All
all he getting paid for, do that. But,
no,
look, at the
just like Shannon Sharp from
yeah,
Buffalo. They call him Big Play Shay.
yeah.
All he needs is one play.
All
That's
you
it.
need is one. And
Well,
like
go
you
ahead. What's your
said,
hot take?
the difference makers, like you said, is the grade 8 of Baltimore. You
The
know,
great
seeing what here's my thing, and Imma say it. Lamar Jackson, the only one that got paid this offseason with a return on investment is looking damn good.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at these teams and
Absolutely.
who got the bag this past season,
The
who
investment
deserved the
came
bag,
back.
and that return on investment is looking pretty damn good. And look, you know I love me some Jalen Hurts and his fine self, but Lamar Jackson has been all the buzzwords that everybody. He is him. He is standing on business. He is
Standing
out here
on
embarrassing.
business.
Like, look at what he has done to some of these teams on the NFC side. You know what I'm saying? Like Lamar Jackson, and again, as someone who lives in Maryland, I'm in Baltimore. Like that fan base love him. He's big in the community.
Mhm.
He's a man of the people. He says the right things. He keeps, he's a good, young man. And also that return on investment thus far of all the big contracts we talked about this year, in the off season and pay that man. But Baltimore is out here like we're doing pretty good.
The
Like they get their ROI. And so
correct.
I mean, I think the AFC side does not look the way I expected. And obviously, we know with so many injuries, which this has to be a record-breaking year for quarterbacks going down. I cannot remember,
Absolutely.
and by all means, jump in, but I cannot remember the last time so many starting quarterbacks have been out. I
Absolutely.
can't remember.
Like I think Brock Purdy was out a game. Um,
But think about who's just out.
Giants went through 3.
Jets lost
Jet
Rodgers.
lost Rogers, the first play of the game.
First play, Jets lost Rodgers. You got Kirk Cousins
Jets
ain't
lost
in it.
Rogers. Deshaun
Deshaun
Watson got
ain't in
hurt.
it.
Oh,
The amount of starting quarterbacks that went down this season to me was it was nothing short of damn near needing an investigation. Like
Yeah.
something happened this year that
Yeah.
that we ain't never seen before, right? And so
Yeah.
I did the AFC picture doesn't look the way I know I personally thought, right? Like
Mhm.
we thought Joe Burrow, another one who went down for the
Mhm.
season, right? Like we knew they were going to be in the mix, and had Joe Burrow still been playing, they would have. I
Yeah.
don't doubt that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
I think
this playoff picture isn't bad on the
the way
AFC
I'm looking
side.
at
Yeah.
the AFC side is going to be more competitive.
For the next, I say for the next 5 years for sure.
No. Well, yeah, that and this weekend. I feel like the
Yeah.
AFC side is going to be so
Yes.
competitive this weekend because it's going to be balls to the wall.
Yes.
I think with the NFC side,
Yeah. Let's get in that.
it's
There. Here's the thing. I think wild card weekend is any given Sunday on the NFC side. I think AFC there's somewhere you're like I said, we feel like the Kansas City Miami game's kind of a sure, again, but we think the other two could go anyway.
it's
I think every single one of these games on the NFC side, there's no one like I think Dallas over Green Bay. I think Detroit over LA. And I do think the Eagles are going to beat the Bucks. But I can also see where the Bucks could beat the Eagles.
bro. Listen, that's about. I was
I
just
can see
about to say that.
Puka and Cooper Cup going ham and beating Detroit.
Listen,
You know,
just like guys, I just got told you about the Steelers. Like I'm not doubting Mike Tomlin.
no.
It's like in Tampa, although like he was a defensive coordinator, I'm not doubting Todd Bowles.
Yeah,
Todd Bowles can dial up a defense and make Jalen Hurts' night a living hell.
absolutely. And they already know he's hurt.
Exactly. I know he's hurt. I smell blood. I'm going to I'm gonna take you down, bro.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Even if the score is 10-7, as long as I have 10, I win. I'm good. I don't care. It don't have to be a high scoring game.
Nope.
So I think at the end of the day,
And even Dallas Green Bay, like my big thing is Dallas has to get ahead and stay ahead. Dallas can't, here's
yeah,
my thing. Dallas can't play with Green Bay thinking, oh, well, they go, we'll just speed ahead by the fourth quarter. Or we'll just Dallas better get ahead and stay
this
ahead.
is what Dallas need to do.
Period.
Mike McCarthy, and I know he knows Green Bay. I know he probably there's some players or probably some personnel, coaches, whatever case would be that he still knows. Granted, that's fine. However, you play for Dallas now. You coach for Dallas now. So what you need to do, you need
And
to
remember, he ain't coaching Aaron Rodgers and Randall
correct.
Cobb and all. He ain't coaching them. Green Bay is the youngest team in the NFL. All them boys
It's
can't
not
even
even
rent a
30.
car. Like they can't rent cars.
Yeah, they're not even 30 years old. They're not even 25 years old, just about. So I think with Mike McCarthy need to go to Dak and say, listen, punch them in the mouth early enough
Early.
to where you put on your hat in the fourth quarter.
They have to.
You
I
have
don't
to.
think any of these, like Dallas can't, in my opinion, Dallas can't. They have to look at the regular season as that's what it was. They
Oh yeah.
can't try to use that same formula. Even at home, I don't think Dallas can use that same formula because like any of these teams, these are all winning teams. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? Like these are all teams with winning records who are in the playoffs for a reason. And I don't think that Green Bay is a team you play with.
Yeah.
They will get ahead. Jordan Love put together a game-winning drive against us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm,
and,
mhm,
and quickly and swiftly.
mhm, mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So and like we said earlier, they don't got nothing to lose.
So
Whereas even some of the conversation around Mike McCarthy, like, what happens if Dallas loses before they know that? There's people who are like, hey, they may need to get rid of him, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more pressure on Dallas, but I
this is
think Dallas has to come out. Dallas has to come out hot. If they get the ball that first drive, they have to put points on the board. And they have to continue to do that with Green Bay. Because I'll say, as someone, I've watched 2 Green Bay games this year, obviously one of them being with the Giants. They don't have an off switch. And Jordan don't turn the ball over like that.
Yeah.
That's, to me, that has to be Dallas's formula. And that has to be the formula throughout the playoffs. Dallas can't get behind, because it will be like towards the beginning of the season where you get behind and you can't just take it away. You know what I'm saying? So I do think the NFC games can, in my opinion, I have Dallas over Green Bay. I do think Detroit is going to win it. And I do think Philly's going to come out and beat the Bucks. But like, like we've said, and especially with this Detroit LA game, like, you got Matthew Stafford, who was
coming
off a Super Bowl win 2 years ago, going back into the building that he knows so well and playing inside. Puka's healthy, Cooper Kupp's healthy, like, and those young men are fast. They
and
are
you
fast.
still have Aaron Donald.
Yep. And you still got Sean McVay. Coach, like, you got Sean McVay.
Hence why
both of them can go. Both coaches look like they ready to play.
Bro, hence why I said, listen, if any outside of us, if anybody can threaten San Fran, power for power, speed for speed, throw for throw, it's LA.
Absolutely.
Maybe Detroit.
Absolutely. I would say. Oh, I have one more question after that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Maybe Detroit. And I was, because remember, the Browns did it. The Baltimore did it in San Fran. They punched them square in the face early. All that finesse, all that we're gonna style up some exotic plays. Nah, bro.
That don't work in the AFC. They're like, we don't need all that flash. Again, Miami the only flashy team on this list. The rest of them, like, no, we just play football.
Yeah.
We play football.
Yeah.
That young man, CJ Stroud, outside of the fact, and I had to call our man, and I was like, I know y'all sick. I know y'all sick.
Hey, man, look, I
know y'all sick. But CJ Stroud was out there playing football.
But I'm not. Two things could be true.
Yeah.
CJ could have been in the same spot as Bryce Young, and we'll be talking about Bryce Young putting the team on his back. But this is where Bryce Young and CJ Stroud comes into play. Both of them got good arms.
Yes.
But Bryce is built like an 8th grader.
Bro.
He's not even, and I get it. He's a
Bryce Young's girlfriend is bigger than him, and that is not me being sizist. Bryce Young's just. Here's the thing, and I hear you. Bryce Young, if the roles had switched, and we saw them head to head, and Bryce Young, that was one of the Carolina wins this year. But I still believe Carolina would look significantly different with CJ there. And I think the Texans will look different with Bryce Young there. And like you said, it is sheerly off the eye test. It's off the eye test.
Listen, we're supposed to be seeing, we're supposed to see a Carolina Panther head, right, to replace that Bucks.
Yeah. Right. I don't care what nobody says. I put it on everything. If CJ Stroud was in Carolina, I think Carolina could easily be in the playoff picture, just like the Bucks, if not in that position. Because
probably in a higher seed.
Maybe. But no, seriously. I 100. I think this is a difference maker.
I ain't gonna hold you. If Carolina could, with that team right now, CJ Stroud,
they would have more than 2 wins.
I can see them as a 4th seed.
They would absolutely have more wins.
Yeah, I can see them being a 4th seed. I won't see them being like we just squeezing in. No.
Nah.
I can easily see them winning the South.
Absolutely.
With he
would be the best quarterback in that division. Easily.
Damn, you're right.
What did Derek Carr do?
Not a damn thing.
What did Baker do? Baker played well, but
Hey,
he's always played well. But no, TJ Shaw would have been the best quarterback in that league, that division.
yeah.
Sorry.
And to Baker's point,
Yeah.
and I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I think he reminds me of a young Brett Favre that just gets
Yes.
so better. A great value, like a great value Brett Favre.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like he's a gunslinger. He just want to play ball, whatever. But
Yep.
man, like I think Tampa is his home for a while.
They should keep him.
They should keep him because you got into the playoffs. If you beat the Eagles, you got to give him the bag.
And think about it. He did exactly what they were hoping their QB of the future would do, which is they didn't want to have this huge fall off after Tom Brady. And they're in the playoffs, just like they were last year, with an additional win.
It's kind of hard, like, so for your Mac Jones and Cam Newton to replace 12 in New England.
Oh God, yeah.
But for Baker Mayfield to replace 12 in Tampa Bay, that's hard.
Instantly. We're not talking about a year removed.
That's hard.
Tom Brady was just sitting on the sand.
That's what I'm saying. That's
they're in the playoffs,
man.
Again.
That's tough because now it's like, how am I follow up with that? How?
And they drafted a quarterback last year.
That's what
my thing. I'm like, you have to keep Baker. It makes no sense not to
keep Baker.
Like, again, look at, there wasn't a huge fall off from where you were last year and where you are this year. Baker, when Baker's good, he's good. When Baker's bad, he's bad. And like you said, I agree, he is in that kind of great value. And again, you're still in a very weak division. We don't know who's going to be the quarterback or the coach of Atlanta. We don't know who it is going to be. I think Derek Carr has been not really much of a value add or change for the Saints. And the way Carolina's draft picks and stuff are, they're unfortunately still going to be bad again next year. And we, again, they're another one who I think they fired their GM, they fired their coach. Like, they're in, I think I don't even know, I can't even say Carolina's in a rebuild. I don't know what the hell Carolina.
They have to
I think Carolina is probably in one of the worst spots in the NFL right now. They are in the absolute worst spot. There is no other team who's in draft hell, who has a lack of good skill position players, who I was going to say two things that was going to be a very big pause moment, but who may not have quite made the right decision at QB, don't got a coach, like, they are in what team is in a worse position than Carolina?
Being from
going to be next year as well, because they don't even pick in the first round. Like, that's
being from North Carolina. And as a football fan and a Dallas fan, but more important, being from North Carolina, to see Cam Newton and the Panthers in 2015.
Yep.
We will probably never see that again.
Yeah.
We will never see that again.
And unfortunately,
only because
but they dug themselves so deep. It's going to be a while.
Only because of the front.
Yeah.
David Tepper has to step down.
Ooh.
You wanted Bryce Young. Frank Wright wanted CJ Stroud.
Wait, he did? Oh, I didn't know that Wright wanted.
You got rid of Steve Wilkins, who is a defensive-minded coach. And when he got promoted as interim head coach, had a 5-1 season.
You start, and the players surrounded him.
The players surrounding him. He's a black man. I believe he's from Charlotte.
No, he is. I think he's from Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's from Charlotte. And you let him go.
He won that job. He did the same thing the same thing that the Raiders are in right now, which is
they had a coach. The same way for Antonio Pierce.
Yes.
If I'm a Raider, I'm going to Mr. Davis' office and say, yo, please keep Antonio Pierce.
Let him, because here's my thing. The Carolina is in the position that the Raiders are in, right? Like that's where they were last year. Right. But the Raiders need to make the right decision that Carolina didn't.
But at least the Raiders have a few pieces to where I can play with.
But you know
if I don't have no spades and all I got is clubs and hearts, I don't have nothing.
Yeah.
And
me and I may have talked about it. I said, look, bro, I love you, but y'all don't got no, like, next year you pretty much are throwing a hand in.
Correct.
Yeah, you don't got, y'all probably, maybe they may get some second round, hopefully, someone in second, third round hit, but they were honestly out here playing with like a 6 of spades.
Carolina have 2 in a possible next season. 2.
Maybe.
2.
Yeah.
You have 2 spades. You got the 2 high spades, and the rest of them are hearts and diamonds.
And you don't got no face cards. Like you talking about like I said, you talking about like a 6.
Look,
you got like a 6 and a 10 of spades. You like this might walk.
But then you look at Chicago like, damn. I know we were trash, but we got rid of our best receiver to get a number 1 quarterback, but they were still trash.
Think about this also. The 2 quarterbacks that Carolina let go last year are both in the playoffs.
Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. God be damn.
That should be enough for an owner to step down. Think about the decisions they've made in a calendar year. If it was an ownership group, they'd be out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like if Carolina, like I say, Carolina gonna be bad for another year, and then they have to start to right this ship. And what I heard, like similar to you, me going to school in North Carolina and having so many friends who are from that area and knowing about and being there during the Cam years. I was at the preseason game where they were yelling for Cam Newton to come in, and I remember him walk because it was Carolina versus the Giants preseason in Charlotte. And I remember Cam Newton walking out, and I called my mom after that game, and I said, I ain't never seen a quarterback. He was the biggest thing on the field. I was like, Ma, that was wild. I said, Carolina gonna be good. They got the right one.
Listen, and I know this.
Ooh, and Christian McCaffrey. I forgot.
Bro,
listen, 3 people last year who in the playoffs.
The Carolina Panthers from 15 to right now, that could be a 30 for 30. Like, no lie. It's like 2015. What the F happened to the Panthers? A 30 for 30 presentation. Because you like
you are wilding.
Luke had to force to retire because if he got one more concussion, his brains would have been scrambled eggs. Greg Olsen retired. Julius Peppers retired. They tried to kill Cam Newton and torpedo him and get him concussed. His shoulder was messed up. People knew, okay,
they wanted. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I knew that Cam wasn't accurate like that, but they knew they knew that, hey, he's still the best quarterback that we had in that division and arguably in that NFC at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
And oh, by the way, I got a special toy in the backfield from Stanford.
Let's not get it twisted. Christian McCaffrey is just as good as he was in Carolina that he is in San Francisco.
Facts.
Man has missed, ne'er beat. Not near beat.
But I'm gonna tell you what I've listened. I don't know who I forgot who I was listening to. But matter of fact, I think it was Cam's 4 for 1 joint.
Mhm.
They said that the coaching staff didn't know how to coach Chris McCaffrey.
Wow.
They didn't. If we had a Mike Shanahan, if they had a Mike Shanahan, a Todd McShay, not Todd McShay, Rams coach at Carolina,
Oh, baby, yeah.
Camp, everybody would still be there. So with the
Absolutely.
exception of Luke, Pep, and Greg.
Yeah. And what's interesting about that also is what I've felt about what I said earlier about with Patrick Mahomes.
Mhm,
There got to a point specifically in Carolina with Cam where they literally wanted him to carry that entire team. And that's when they had weapons. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like they beat his body down. And unfortunately, you see that so many times with black QBs who
mhm,
are that dynamic. Similar to even Philly right now, it's like, hey, y'all just paid
mhm.
Jalen. He's the face of this franchise.
I'm
Why is he injured and y'all are still trying to have him run? You can tell he don't want to run. Why are y'all beating and grinding it out with him, right? Like, don't destroy this man's body, A, after you just paid him, and B, when you know you want him to be the face of your franchise, there's too many, and I hate to make it a racial thing, but there are just too many black quarterbacks who have that same story, and these teams treat them and their body the same way.
mhm.
Y'all need to be look, you want Jalen to be your Patrick Mahomes and your Russell Wilson, or do you want him to be your RG3 and Cam Newton? And that's no disrespect to Bobby G. And that's no disrespect to Mr. Newton. Love both of them. We're very excited to play. And you and I both remember those RG3 days where we like, God, how do you stop him?
That man came into Thanksgiving at AT&T Stadium and destroyed.
How do we? He was scary.
He came into AT&T Stadium Thanksgiving Day and destroyed us,
I remember the Bobby G days.
bruh.
They were not great days for us.
He, he did a read option from the 5 and took that bitch up 80 some odd yards. How, Sway?
Those Bobby G days were very nerve-wracking. There were a lot of times, and
You
I was
couldn't do
in
anything about it.
nothing.
But
That's how they have to
it
look
gets
at
to,
it.
but it
Like
gets to
those
show you
cautionary tales, like you have to look at it. Look, do you, and again, that's again not to take away from what those two guys, what any of these four guys did, right? But what is the kind of quarterback you want who have these superpowers? Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, Russell Wilson, and Patrick Mahomes were very, very special dynamic quarterbacks where any team, good or bad, going up against them, and I'll throw Lamar in there too, right? Well, yeah, I'll throw Lamar in that, but he's still kind of young in his career. But those are guys who have these superhuman powers that there really aren't defenses that have answers. And these could be the top defenses in the world, and they will embarrass you. And I think with Jalen, Philly has to figure that out. Philly has to determine, look, you've had Vic, you had McNabb, and look at how y'all use them and their longevity there, right? That really wasn't. So if you want Jalen back in that game, you want him to bring Philly their second ring. If you want him to be the face or you want to build that dynasty, y'all gotta take care of that man. Y'all can't treat him the way y'all did with Cam and Robert, who never even got to the big game, right? Or do you want Russell and you want a Patrick Mahomes? Because the NFC is different than the AFC. Y'all can be in this thing repeat. I think the way the NFC set up, like I said, Dallas can be in the playoffs damn near every year because it's anybody's game. Philly can be in the playoffs. Giants need to be in the playoffs again. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have as much depth when it comes to amazing generational QBs that they have over in the AFC. So I think Philly has an opportunity. It's like take advantage right now. We don't have a loaded division with a bunch of amazing quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. We don't.
And I'll say the same thing for Dallas. Dallas's window with Dak, and I have the question I'm gonna ask you at the end of the season, no matter where y'all in. I got a question. I don't know if you remember it, but I'm gonna ask it to you at the end of this because I think this season, and I'm not gonna do the whole last season. This season, I think is going to be very defining of who Dak Prescott is in the NFC.
Yes.
I think this season, no matter how good he is next year, it won't matter because he's now had 2 back-to-back 12-win seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You got 2 seasons being now you the 2 seed last year, y'all were the 5. Right? If I'm not mistaken, right? Y'all were 5 last year.
Yeah, you were the 5 seed, 5th seed.
You're 2-4 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Going into this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is and Dak has won all of the things. I think that I'm this is not the Sha'Niece fan, but Sha'Niece a football person. Dak is the quarterback that any franchise would want. He does the right things, minus that tattoo, and I'm always gonna give him slack for that. But no, he is the face. You know what I'm saying? He's the quarterback you want. He's the one who's at the podium. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year. You can't. Everybody don't get that.
No, absolutely not.
Everybody don't get that. You know what I'm saying? And even hearing his story, like I got choked up. You know what I'm saying? So he is the guy you want with the star on his helmet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Dallas has chosen, if you look at the mix of quarterbacks right now in the NFC, you guys have a guy. And again, to me, the best comp is going to be a Kirk Cousins. And I think if they switch, we'd probably see about the same type of player.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still going to get the same quality of man in that position. But unlike Kirk, because Kirk is a little older, he's been in the league longer than Dak, I think we know what Kirk is in his ceiling, and no matter where Kirk goes in the system, we know what we're getting from Kirk Cousins. We're starting to know exactly who Dak is. This playoff run, no matter if it ends in January or February, is going to truly determine what Dak's career is and the type of guy he is. And I think he has an opportunity this season to solidify the conversation. Y'all can't come up short. Y'all can't lose this weekend or next weekend because
we have to get to the NFC or Super Bowl.
And I'm not even going to give you Super Bowl. You have to get to the NFC with Dak. And it's specifically, and it is solely because of who he is, what this team is, and all that he has accomplished thus far in his career. Because you and I know, and we've had this conversation a few postseasons, Dak losing in the first or second round of the playoffs, wild card or divisional, means that he is what we expect, and all the conversation and chatter has to end. Dak is who he is.
Dak is who he is. And
Dak is who he is. So he has to, I will admit, this is a good seeding, and I think you guys are playing very good teams. And like I said, I got y'all winning against Green Bay. We'll see what second round looks like, but y'all, Dak can't lose in the next 2 weeks. That's not an option, bro. That's not an option.
Dak.
Look, that'll be my final words, and I'll let you might drop it.
I would say this, and we're gonna make it quick because I know we gotta get the Black Monday in the draft. I'm gonna say this and I'm move forward. When Aaron Rodgers got traded over back to the AFC, and when Tom Brady retired,
yes,
everybody and their mama was looking at Dak.
Yep.
Dak, this is yours. This is your conference. This is your conference.
You easily top in the conference.
You're top 2. Some people can call them top 2 and not number 2. Some people call them top 2 at 2. It's between Jalen.
I'm thinking NFC at the start of this season. At the start, because
Yeah.
again, it was him,
Oh,
Kirk, because we knew what Kirk could do,
him,
we knew
Kurt,
what Jalen could
him, and
do,
Jalen.
and there were expectations of Carr, but I wouldn't have put Carr over Dak.
Oh, absolutely.
I wouldn't have. But though, like I said, he was easily top 3 QBs in the NFC alone.
Right now, going into this playoffs, Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the NFC. Period. End of statement. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback going to the AFC playoffs right now. Period. End of statement. The stats, the wins, don't matter who you play, all is a cupcake the last couple of weeks. Who cares? Guess what? Philly had a cupcake schedule. They went 1-5.
I will say
hurt or
here's
not.
my only thing with Purdy. Here's my only thing with Purdy.
Brock.
I will say this. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is an MVP. I'm not saying that because we know Kyle Shanahan gonna get to the playoffs with everybody else on that offense. It don't matter. I could be the quarterback. It don't matter. So I'm not saying Brock Purdy is an MVP. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it. Brock Purdy this season, despite what folks want to say, Brock Purdy, you have to give him respect, and we have to lose this narrative of him being the last quarterback in the draft.
Oh,
if Brock Purdy were, if he was a rookie, if this Brock Purdy is doing what Trey Lance was supposed to do. You had a perfect offense. All you had to do was stay healthy. Am I lying? Am I lying?
No, you know.
Am I lying?
No, you hit the money. Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head.
So technically, this team is supposed to be just as great, if not better, because they were supposed to have the number 1 draft pick in Trey Lance, but he's in Dallas. He behind Dak and Cooper Rush, right?
And,
so Brock Purdy
is supposed to be supposed to be a second string at best.
At best, but he has the perfect handmade team. And I think he gets more flack for the team that's around him. And if Trey Lance was what he was supposed to be, we wouldn't be having this same conversation. If Trey Lance was healthy and did exactly what he was supposed to do, that Brock Purdy is doing, and putting up the same numbers that Brock Purdy put up this year, there would be no question of having Trey Lance in the same conversation as Dak with these same numbers, and with and with Jalen with these numbers, and with sorry, not Jalen, with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson with these numbers. Mm-hmm. We would not be hesitating about talking about how good Trey Lance is. We would not be questioning how good Trey Lance
absolutely
is.
Not.
Absolutely, none of these things will be said. It is because we are still like, well, Brock Purdy was the 3rd string QB last year, and in his system and all that. Nobody would be saying that because Trey Lance is supposed to be where Brock Purdy is, but he kept getting injured. So I can't not put Brock in that conversation, because again, just like we had Dak in the conversation for MVP because of the numbers, Purdy's numbers are great.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely indeed. But so if I had to revamp it, I mean, I would put Dak 1, Brock 2, and Jalen at 3. But the fact that out of those 3, Dak has been with that team the longest. He replaced an injured Romo, got to the playoffs with him and Zeke as rookies.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows experience. He knows Green Bay. He knows. He's the veteran out of those 3.
Yeah.
When 12 retired and other 12 went to the Jets, that is your conference now.
That opened the doors.
This is your conference now, Dak.
It's yours to take.
Listen, Dakota, it's yours.
Kirk Cousins sitting at home.
That's what I'm saying. Kirk Cousins sitting at home. Jalen is playing on one leg. Brock is Brock. It's your conference.
I agree. But it's this year. I don't care about next year. And y'all can do just as good.
this is the season. If I'm telling you right now, the Dallas Cowboys get Super Bowl and win this shit.
That's different. We have a totally different conversation. And in respect will be given. Again, I'll take the Giants hat off and I'll put the football hat on. But what you said is very true. And that's where, like I said, Dak has to get further than what he has, because if he cannot, and I'm not, it will show us. Yeah, that it's not even about what the window.
It leaves the door
And
open
it
for
leaves,
Brock to just walk on in.
yeah, and it leaves the next few years that he has with Dallas to be considered a joke, because you know what everybody is going to say. Well, of course you won 10, 11, 12, 13 games. So we know you can't win. We know you can't win in the postseason. And people are going to, I think even the narrative of it is that, and I listened to a bunch of shows the past 2 days. When it comes to Dallas, the biggest thing everybody's saying is like, but Dallas in the postseason with Dak. They should win, but this is the season he has to kill it, because I know one thing I'm not doing next year when we talk about Dallas is I don't care how many games they win. They can go undefeated. They can go 17-0 and I still would be like, but what you going to do in the playoffs?
Right.
We know y'all going to win. Okay, and so
Right.
I do agree when it comes to that. I think, you know, this NFC weekend is going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the teams that are playing, I don't personally see a guaranteed win, because I don't see any of those games where if the quote unquote underdog, right? If LA, Green Bay, or the Bucks win, I don't think any of those underdogs in the game, if they did win, that any of us would be shocked, because almost each and every one of those teams have a valid excuse of why they could win. Green Bay could beat Dallas by 1 point. It could be 9-10. You know what I'm saying? It could be 13-10, right? They could win by a last minute 61-yard field goal.
Right.
And all we're going to sit here and be like, well, Dallas does what they do in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that can't elevate the team.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Mike McCarthy still got game management issue, right? We know exactly. We can write the narratives. Same thing with LA, same thing with the Bucks, right? In the Philly. So I think it'll be really great to watch. And look, we can hit these last two really, really quickly. And when it comes to firing, well, actually, no, I'm gonna skip this one because I wanted to talk more so with Rashad about this, with the fact that they fired their coach and GM. Washington is in a rebuild, and I think that's all you can really leave Washington at. But here's the thing. I do want to do this. Who would you pick? Because regardless, we know no matter where any of our teams are, like I know Giants, we have the number 6 draft pick, but Dallas, regardless, is going to have draft picks, right? In the first round, late in the first, wherever, right?
Absolutely.
Where do you see your team once we get to, what is the draft?
April-ish. Yep.
April-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this offseason, no matter where your Cowboys in, what do you want to see from Jerry Jones, the man, the myth, and the legend? Where do you want to see your Cowboys go when it comes to the draft?
First of all, I want to see Jerry sit his ass down somewhere and retire. That's what I want to see. But that's a different story for a different day. Shit. Like, come on, dog. I get it.
Jerry Jones said, y'all gonna have to pry from my cold dead fingers. And literally that might be when it happens. And I'm not wishing death upon nobody, but I'm saying Jerry gonna do it till he can't.
Yeah. I see us getting either a running back,
yeah,
or some fat boys, because Zach Martin is getting up there in age. Tyron Smith is getting up there in age. I really wouldn't do a defensive alignment. I need some fat boys to protect that. Some young hybrid fat boys to protect that. Or I need a solid like a solid, show enough running back.
Absolutely.
Because I think Tony, and I get it, you try to pair Tony Pollard with Christian McCaffrey and be like, oh, look, he can do the same thing. No, he can't.
No,
C-Mac is
absolutely,
C-Mac is C-Mac. And there's no not to Tony Pollard. Because
absolutely not.
Tony Pollard is a solid back.
Yeah.
He's just not an all-purpose back like a Christian McCaffrey.
Honestly, if there's any comp, I would say from what I've seen in Tony Pollard's game, I'm like, he's more of a comp to Saquon. He's
Yeah,
good, but you
he's
can't
good.
rely your whole run game. That can't be your only run option. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? You need a two back. And that's how and if I'm not mistaken, Tony's a little smaller than Saquon.
It is. He is.
But that's how I look at that. I was like, it's very one-sided on the run game. If he gets open, you're not catching him. And he's got hands. But
Correct.
you can stop that.
I'm getting
Stop that.
I'm getting a running back. I'm getting an offensive lineman. Yeah. Running back or offensive lineman.
Okay. I agree. I think Dallas's offense, because you have an aging quarterback, obviously not of the world, but I know, if I'm not mistaken, Dak is soon to be entering that older quarterback conversation, right? Because how old is Dak? He's what, 28, right? Isn't Dak 28?
30. I think he's 30.
No, that's not that old.
I want to say he just turned 30.
Oh shoot,
Yeah.
he really did.
He turned 30 in July.
So
at best, he
we're
has.
talking about 4 or 5 more years.
Yeah, he had 5 more years.
And you have to keep that O-line has to be stronger and stronger and stronger as the years go by, because and again, not wishing injury or anything, but we know Dak, like many quarterbacks, has had injuries. But Dak is now that he's hit 30, he's got some years on him, and he definitely has years ahead of him. He's now in that Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson. He's in that category because he's not gonna, right, and Staff, right? Like he's and Cousins and stuff, right? Like, you're now in your 30s, those hits ain't gonna feel that great every year. And so you're right, Dallas has been known to have that good O-line, and their best years are when they have a solid O-line. And so any area where that piece might be missing when you have that age of a quarterback, you do have to build up that O-line. I 100% agree with you. They have to continue to realize that no matter what happens, you have to have a strong O-line, because he's not at an age. And let's be honest, there were some hits that Dak took this year.
Oh, like, I'm talking about major hits to where I was like,
the fact that he got up.
You need to keep sliding. You need to keep sliding, bro. Or either
you
that
are not Josh Allen's age.
Out of bounds.
Yeah, you're not Josh Allen's age. And even when Josh Allen gets another 3-4 more years on him, he ain't gonna be taking the hits that he's taking now. Like, Dak is taking some hits this season where I was shocked that he bounced back up and was fine. Obviously, I know he probably feels it, but he can't. He'll be 31 going into the 2024 season. He can't take those type of hits at all. At all.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if he is still under contract.
Yes.
I know he did a big farewell speech, but I would trade my first round pick for Derrick Henry. I would.
Here's the thing.
You can find linemen anywhere. Good. You can find you can find good. You can find your diamonds in the rough type of players 3rd to 7th round. You could pick up.
Free agent.
Correct. I'll pick
Yeah.
up a. I'll pick up a defensive lineman in the 2nd round, and just pick up number fat boys, and maybe another receiver, rounds 3 through 7.
Okay.
But I
here's
could.
the thing. You would get a great return. That's a risk. If any
It's
other
a,
would
because
take that risk.
you're trading your first,
Yeah.
and you're here's what you're doing.
Your need is not as great. Your need
Correct.
is not as great. So you can trade,
But
like you said.
you're guaranteeing 2 things.
Yep.
Number 1, if I'm Dak, thank you, football gods. I can just do this. Boom, 5 yards of carry. Easy.
You get Derrick Henry, you shouldn't be running the ball ever.
Listen.
Dak should not need to run the ball.
If I do any type of read option, maybe for like 2 or 3 yards and slide. Other than that, think about it also. And number 2, if I'm CD Lamb, thank you, football gods, because guess what? You demand 8 in the box, which means I got one-on-one coverage.
Yeah.
So if I'm Jerry, I'm getting Derrick Henry. I don't care what I got to do to get him. If that means, hey, yo, Tony has been real.
Yeah, because I want to say he was only on a 1 year, if I'm not mistaken.
We tagged him.
You tagged him, yeah. So
that means if I can trade, or I can have Tony sign, trade him for some picks, get Derrick, and pick up a rookie back.
Oh yeah.
Or keep Rico as your 2nd string. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you have enough of the assets. If you have the assets in the 1st round, you got to go after him, because I think Derrick Henry, for sure, with that speech he made, GMs are salivating.
Derrick Henry anywhere will be
that's a difference maker.
Will be a shift.
Absolutely.
You give Derrick Henry to Pat Mahomes. That's cheating.
Literally. Go ahead, give him the ring.
You give Derrick Henry to us. That's cheating. You give Derrick Henry.
That changes the way I look at. If y'all got Derrick Henry, we're having no matter where you in.
It doesn't matter.
Conversation about
it doesn't matter if you are a Cowboy hater. You're gonna have to respect the fact that this is about to be our league for the next 3-4 years.
Y'all got better.
Easy.
Y'all got better.
And we kept everybody under contract.
Yeah. Now again, your owner is who he is. So again, I know we're having this conversation of you in the GM hat, right? And I already talked about.
That's the thing. If I was just the GM, not the GM, president, and the owner,
I don't need to be all that. Let me be the GM.
Dang, let me do my job.
Let me sit with Mike, Big Mike. Let's start. We in text messages,
because
like we text messages. We sliding in DMs.
I'm gonna let you go. I know you got to talk about your G man, but if you think about it, the years under Mike McCarthy loved a big ass running back that can just gain yardage and pick up speed like a Mack truck. He didn't really love that speedster like that. No, he loved lined up in I formation and just go straight up the gut, and there's a damn thing you can do about it. That is Derrick Henry.
Yeah. But like I said, here's the thing where I hear you, and again, I can go on and on about how I would love to see Derrick Henry as a forever Giant. And again, if there's we need to build on offense, period. We need to build on offense. So needing that power back like a Derrick Henry, to have someone that looked like a Brandon Jacobs, like I would love for us. He would make us the Giants of old. And that's what I know for me as a Giants fan. Yes, like I said, there's no GM right now after seeing him do his farewell speech. And even if you didn't see it live, you've seen it go viral. Every GM is like, what we're salivating. We're salivating.
Because one thing's for sure, two is for certain. They're looking to cut somebody to get him. Yep. And they're looking to see if Tennessee keeps him, what picks do we really
what we got to do
to give you guys this and you give us back Derrick?
Hey, here's the thing. If Jerry's not, and I get it, eyes are on the prize and he's thinking about it, which again, I think is always going to be the Achilles heel of those decisions. But any GM right now, and I can think of 10 teams right now where Derrick Henry going to that team makes them a playoff team.
Derrick Henry can go to Baltimore right now. The playoffs be over.
That would not be fair. That wouldn't be fair.
Derrick Henry will be lined up behind Lamar Jackson. You might as well just go ahead and skip Vegas and give him the ring.
What are we talking about? But what are we talking about?
You got Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Odell.
What are we talking about?
With Mark Andrews.
You went hell. If anything, that's building a dynasty.
Who had a down year on top of that? Mark Andrews was a top 5 tight end last year. He had a down year.
Give it to him.
You put Derrick Henry anywhere in the playoffs. Any team would love to have a Derrick Henry right now.
Absolutely.
In the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Even Tampa.
Derrick Henry, and like you said, I will sit here and agree with you. There's no team, and look, I'll pop it back up. There's no team right now on this screen where Derrick Henry not only a difference maker, but damn near guarantees them a ring. That could damn near guarantee them a ring. And again, I'll take San Francisco out of the mix because they fine. They don't need nothing else. They
I'm about to say, dog.
They don't deserve anything.
I'm about to say, dog. You have all the Infinity Stones, bro.
You just
all of them. You have the Infinity Stones, and Shanahan has the gauntlet.
Like, I'm taking San Francisco out because again,
I wouldn't even take Philly out.
I was gonna take. We gotta technically take Baltimore out because that's not gonna be fair either. But I would agree. Philly, fine. Philly, like I said,
I would say Philly. I would say
money maker. They got to take care of him.
I would say Philly, Baltimore, and San Fran out the picture.
Yeah,
they're good.
Every other team up here. And I will put an asterisk by Miami. Derrick Henry makes them a Super Bowl team.
Plug Derrick Henry in that. Imagine
Derrick Henry with the Browns, bro. That's a Super Bowl team. That's a Super Bowl team.
Look with old man Flacco.
Flacco is older.
Flacco went from the carpool picking up the kids to end the playoffs
and playing lights.
Playing as if I still got Ray Lewis and Ed on the squad
in a division he's quite familiar with.
Way familiar.
Too familiar.
Bro, I went up against. I had to go.
And they can't even hit him the way though. You had posted that was like, "Yo, this who Joe Flacco went up against." I'm like, and they could hit him.
Yes,
they used to be able to hit him.
I went up against Ray Lewis in practice.
Troy Polamalu could put his hands on him,
bro. And James Harrison come across that edge, but I'll let you go ahead.
No. I mean,
who did the G man
But like I said, I mean, we're in a very similar position, right? We have to get that run game going. I think we have to build more weapons, or we have to find that wide receiver one. I think I love our rookie Jalen Hyatt.
Mm-hmm.
He's speedy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a little undersized, but again, he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
His toe drag is elite.
Listen,
His
I saw that.
Jalen Hyatt on the side, put that young man on the sidelines, and he's getting it. There is no review. There is no challenge. The toes are in. I don't ever have to worry unless he literally catches the ball outside, like outside of the field to play. He's in. And so I do think we have something really great with Jalen. I think we have to fix tight end. I was hoping Darren Waller would be that guy, and I was hoping the injury history would not be a problem. It is, and I think Bellinger has something, but when you have those tight ends that are out there, like a Ferguson, like a Dalton Schultz, like in the two, future Hall of Famers in George Kittle and Travis Kelce, the tight end game is changing. And I think Bellinger could be good, but I think there's more offensive pieces and question marks we have than I think we have on the defensive side. Like I said, I know that Joe Shane, our GM, it saw the same video that everybody else saw and was like, so what we trying to talk about? Like I said, Derrick Henry is a difference maker for teams that are either trying to build, teams that are in the playoffs, teams that got a little cap space money. And then lastly, we are stuck with Daniel Jones, and we're going to have him for another season based off his contract, but next year will be the last year for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
And so the question has to be, where do we see a QB in maybe a mid round, or who are they looking at for the next draft who may be coming out of this thing, right? So, hey, if we end up being in the same top 10 next year, would we be better off waiting next year to get that QB round one? Again, we're number 6 this year, so we know Caleb gonna be gone by 6.
Yes.
But I'll be honest, what I saw out of Bo Nix last night, I'm good. Like, I'm real good on that.
Are you talking about Michael Pence?
Sorry. Penix was in the game. Sorry, we'll watch them. My bad, not Bo Nix.
Yeah, Mike Pence Jr.
I did not, because again, I think of it as the Giants, Joe Shane and Daboll are trying to build this Giants thing. So we not faulting you for Daniel Jones, but if you're going to draft the QB of the future, that got to hit. And we're in a space similar to what you said, the same thing. We're in the NFC. It's wide open. We don't have a bunch of stacked great QBs and future Hall of Famers in the AFC, right? Like I think even with what Denver did with Russell Wilson, they are tripping balls. Russell Wilson still has that juice. He is not falling off, and I personally don't like what they did to him, but I'm not going to go down my Denver rant. That would have been for last week.
He's going to Pittsburgh
anyway. And again, they're going to be in a significantly better position under Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
You go to Pittsburgh.
Oh, Mike Tomlin absolutely should be texting Mike. What's up?
Yeah, Russell Wilson go to Pittsburgh. You still have Najee Harris, a young back. All you got to do is pick up a hellified tight end and a receiver.
Yep.
You got your fat boys, and you still got Mike Tomlin as your head coach, a leader of men.
Absolutely. Again, you have you have 2 future Hall of Famers. You get Russell Wilson there. You know what I'm saying? Like they can look at what we know will be in the playoffs. How far can we go? So I think with the Giants, like you said, we have the same outlook that y'all have, which is the NFC is anybody's game right now. And if you know that Daniel Jones is not your quarterback of the future, which again, we'll see where he is next year, what that barometer looks like, I think Daboll and Joe Shane have to either be looking at this draft to say, where do we go at 6? And if we're getting a QB of the future, we know we're moving off Daniel Jones. Is it worth it now or is it worth it then? And by then, I mean next year,
Correct.
because they have a runway of about another 2 to 3 years to turn this thing around. And again, like I said, in our division, I'm going to tell you this. Daniel Jones can't get swept by Dak and Jalen next year.
If he gets swept, if he gets swept by the NFC East opponents, you might as well go ahead and tap him on the shoulder and tell him to clock out.
That's it.
Period.
He cannot.
You have
Cannot. He cannot get swept by Dallas. He can't. Again, we just beat Philly. It don't matter who was out there. We beat Philly. Our game isn't much different from last year when they were pulling their starters, when they even had the 1 seed. So he can't come back next year, whether we are playoff contenders or not. He can't get swept by anyone in the East, let alone Washington. But he can't get swept again.
If he splits, I feel like, and this is just respectfully, I feel like we will still sweep y'all. But if they split with Philly and Washington, that's fine.
That's no. We'll be in the same. Splitting with Washington is even more embarrassing. Especially.
Oh yeah. Especially when you on a rebuild, you on a
new coach.
You don't even know what. I think even Magic said, I don't even like the Commander's name. I think he's still trying to go back to the Redskins. Now,
but we don't know who their coach going to be. It don't matter who they get as a coach, unless it is Kyle Shanahan, right? Like, it don't matter who's their coach. They're drafting at, I think, 3. So we know they more than likely are going to be going after a quarterback. And what does that look like with a rookie and a semi-rookie QB?
I don't know.
I think Washington needs a vet.
I don't think why.
Honestly, I think they should bring Kirk Cousins back, but that's me.
Nah, I think Sam is good. I think Sam is good. He's a Carolina kid. Maybe I'm being biased, but he's from went to Carolina. He has an arm. He just needed some fat boys around him.
I do agree. They absolutely need it. They have to get that O-line.
That's why he kept getting sacked. He needs some
absolutely
boys. He needs security. He needs security.
Absolutely. And I do know, and I've talked to Rashad offline and stuff like that, and even Savin has been on here to talk about it. I do believe that the Washington fan base does believe that Sam Howell is their future. I think the question really is how do you develop him? And because you now have to look for a new coach,
I don't think Eric. I
don't think they're not going to give it to Eric Bieniemy.
They're not going to give it to Eric Bieniemy.
Absolutely not.
One or two things will happen to Eric. Either he will stay as the associate head coach, assistant head coach, whatever, in OC, or he'll be calling Andy Reid after the playoffs, like, "Hey, I'm sorry, what happened?" So,
some psych now. What's up, big head? Like, I will say this. I think
Eric Bieniemy is going to spin the block.
I don't think you can. Eric Bieniemy can't stay as a co-coach. Like, we knew that was set up for failure anyways. He would either have to be a true OC with the new coach, or and I agree. I think he goes, back to Andy or tries to find another OC position somewhere else and hit a restart. But I think that co-coach thing is not going to work with a new head coach.
At this point, it's whatever. I'll go to Carolina.
Yeah, I mean,
what?
You know what? With
Carolina, what do you have to lose? Seriously, when I looked at the roster with Bryce Young, I say, you know what?
Let's try anything.
They might go to the playoffs as a 7th seed. They might. These mofos is 3-14.
A lot. They love very little to a lot. But see, the thing is, but Washington is right behind him, right? Like,
Yes, but
let's keep the bucket. So
if you give Eric Bieniemy, if you give Bryce Young to Eric Bieniemy,
that's a difference maker.
a
That's a difference.
QB, a quarterback whisperer,
Yeah.
someone who can score. Hey, look who I call plays for,
Yeah.
and got 2 rings.
I mean, I agree.
No, got a ring. So take it back. Got a ring for it. I coached Pat Mahomes, and Pat
Yeah.
Mahomes ain't no bigger than Bryce. Pat probably got Bryce by what 50 more pounds and 2 more inches.
I'm about to say, yeah, definitely a few more inches and a few more pounds.
You know what I
But
mean?
again, he's also a rookie, right? Like but
Yeah,
my
he just
thing,
got to look. Man, listen, it's Carolina. All you gotta do is get some barbecue, go to somebody's grandma's house,
yeah, but I
and
think the hardest thing,
go to Bojangles, get a Bo-Berry biscuit or something.
yeah,
That's all.
and I mean, Bryce has to start to look like a Kyler. He has to look like a Russell because again, those are again smaller QBs, but
All
they're
the stats.
thicker, a lot more stature, and again, they have the arm. So I do agree, but look, we're gonna close it out. We hit 2 hours, but
I know. I know. I saw like, oh man, we hit record breaking. But I say this is for both of us. These are the free agents next season. We're gonna move on.
all right, give me a free. Who we got?
So we got Chris Jones, we got Kirk Cousins, we have Josh Allen.
Wait, Chris Jones in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Josh.
what year did he sign this year? He only signed a 1 year?
So Josh Allen with the Jaguars, T. Higgins, Brian Burns from the Panthers,
I wouldn't mind grabbing T. Higgins.
Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts, Mike Evans, Chase Young, Bryce Huff, Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley.
Hold on, wait. Chase Young. Wait.
They got traded to San Fran.
Okay.
Yeah. Devin White, Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Patrick Queen.
Ooh, I wouldn't mind having Chase in New York.
Uh,
I wouldn't mind bringing him back to the NFC East.
Stephon Gilmore, Dalton Schultz.
Chase Young on the here. Look, I'll take him too. I'll take Chase on the other side of Tibbs, and I'll take Dalton Schultz as a vet QB. I mean, a vet tight end. I think he did get injured this year, but I would want to look at his injury history.
They have
Dalton Schultz.
they have the projected contract people should be getting. Saquon should be getting if he were to go somewhere else.
I think he is, unfortunately.
3 years, 19 million.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs should be getting 4 years, 43 million.
Yeah, we can't afford that.
Tony Pollard should be getting 3 years, 19. And Derrick Henry, this is gonna shock.
Yeah.
1 million. No, 1 year, $5 million.
God, that just seems like an insult.
Jerry got that in his back pocket.
Hence why I said GMs are salivating over Derrick Henry should be signed as soon as it opens.
I can give Derrick Henry $5 million next season.
I think Derrick Henry, of all of those you named on that list, is absolute. There's no reason when he hits the mark, like as soon as it's available, he's one of those joints that you get in fantasy and you like, he is my first round go-to. I'm getting points. If he's on waiver wire, I'm picking him up. Like Derrick Henry, I think, is probably going to be one of the hottest pickups.
Derrick is
easily.
But you know what, but honestly, Derrick, at this stage in his career, how big he is, like in size, because that's a big boy.
Imagine Derrick Henry in Buffalo.
That's cheating. That's cheating. Because Josh Allen is like 6'5".
I just thought about that.
Bro,
They
Josh Allen.
they need a good run game.
Josh Allen is 6'5", 250. Derrick Henry is 6'4", 245. Come on, dog.
That's big cereal bowl energy.
Bro, listen. Listen. No, but I feel like if I'm Derrick and I want to play at least, well, he was in the league for 8 years. If I want to play 3-4 more years, I'm going to an inside team. I'm playing indoors.
And I tell you this, on the real, I'm going NFC. And like you said, I think Dallas is a good spot.
Dallas, Detroit,
Woo!
Saints,
Woo!
Minnesota,
Detroit. Derrick Henry go to Detroit. Everybody else in the NFC North can go ahead and pack it up for a while. Because they're going to find another with those type of pieces. Jared Goff is not an anomaly. Like he's not that type of guy. You're going to get another quarterback who can do what Jared Goff does, if not a little bit better.
You give Jared Goff that big ass toy, they're going to the NFC Championship.
Period. With that they're like I said.
I still got that crazy ass coach.
Salivating.
I still got St. Brown. I have a solid defense. And all I need is maybe I could pick up Mike Evans for the cheap.
For the low.
I can give Mike Evans about $2 or $3 million.
For the another one. Green Bay could use them.
To play inside. What?
In a weak division.
About 14, 15 games? Because I got to play Minnesota.
Inside.
And 8, 9 games at home. And then, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look, you play the NFC West. Most of those are inside. You know what I'm saying? Like the only NFC West team that's outside is San Fran. So if you in the NFC North, you get the NFC West. That's light. That's light work.
And
you play the South. What is that? I see. There are so many. Like I said, I think of many of the teams that were cusp. Playoff teams. They're salivating. I think obviously there's room in current playoff teams, but there are other teams that have some room with those numbers. I think Derrick Henry is more than likely going to be one of the hottest pickups in the offseason. And I can't think of anyone else who would be more.
And honestly, if I'm Dallas and if I need a veteran wide receiver, I'll pick up Mike Evans. I'm getting rid of Michael Gallup's ass.
Ooh.
He haven't done nothing.
Because who do y'all have? Cooks? Cooks has been doing pretty good.
I'm keeping Cooks.
Yeah, he's definitely a good 2 option.
I'm keeping Cooks. I'm putting him as my slot. The way that, and I know I'm doing no comparison whatsoever because I know he's been more consistent, but the way Philly has been using Julio Jones, that's the same way I would use That's the same way I would
Mike Evans, absolutely. Like you said earlier, all I need is my 1-2 good plays.
At this point in your career, you got your ring. You've been so consistent. You are a leader of men. You're a locker room guy.
Yeah. Usually about 1-2 plays a game.
I just need you for a red zone threat. That's it. That's all I need you for.
I agree.
And that'd be cheap. Even if we didn't get Derrick Henry, that would low-key still be cheating because you have CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks as your slot, and you got Mike Evans on the backside.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. No, I definitely agree.
Who can still give you at least, 600, 700 yards? Maybe.
I'm about to say, he's going to give you at least, he'll probably give you about half of what CD can give.
Correct.
About a half or a third. And that's,
and maybe
but I do think, I will say this. to take a Mike Evans versus a Derrick Henry, I do think Dallas puts himself in a situation because you know your schedule is going to be harder next year, right? We know that it more than likely will be, right?
They come to we got an NFC South again, and the boys come to the A. So can't wait.
I know y'all about to show up. I will say I do think, and hence the reason why I say let's just even talk divisionally because we play the South, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know for almost all of us that should be 4 guaranteed.
That's 4 guaranteed games.
That should be 4. I would say
unless
I'll take it back. I'll say 3 guaranteed. That should be 3 in the possible.
Unless Atlanta trades for Justin Fields.
3. That's why I said 3 in the possible. That's why I said I'll take away the 4. I'll say 3 in the possible because again, any given day, Saints might be on fire. And if Justin Fields, I think honestly that's where he should be. I think Justin Fields in Atlanta changes.
Because think about it,
changes the game.
You missed out. Atlanta missed out on Lamar Jackson.
You have a young team. You got that young good running back.
Atlanta missed out. You could have had the Michael Vick experience again.
Yep.
With Lamar Jackson.
Here's another one. You remember?
You gotta think they don't want another Michael Vick experience.
Jamal Anderson. I was a kid in elementary school living in Atlanta. I remember when they had Jamal Anderson. And in Atlanta, I think what was it, 96? They went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the year we went in 95.
Yeah. I think with Atlanta, I will agree. I think if there's anywhere I see Justin Fields actually being able to go and flourish, it would be there. But Atlanta's in kind of the same situation that Washington is in. It's also about coach. You gotta get the right coach.
And you low key have the right pieces.
Atlanta, absolutely.
You got Bijan Robinson. You still got Kyle Pitts. You got Drake London. You got Rittner, who's a nice QB. He could be
He's a good backup.
He'll be a solid backup.
Absolutely.
Only thing you need to do, bring in Justin Fields. Boom, you good.
And I think just the dynamic of such a young team, that's what you should.
And the whole draft and free agents, that's your defense right there.
Yeah.
You draft.
Tighten up the defense, get maybe a veteran in there on the because you do need a veteran on the that
get a Chris Jones
is fairly young.
Chris Jones for the cheap because you got the bread. Ain't nobody has the bag right now in Atlanta. No one.
You're not paying anybody.
You ain't paying nobody. I think the biggest bag is Kyle Pitts, but I think he's still in his rookie contract.
Atlanta has to get the coach right. That is, I think, more so than the quarterback. Like I said, to me, Justin Fields is kind of an obvi, right? But Atlanta could get, there's a few quarterbacks that'll be out there that I think Atlanta could get. Their big thing, they have to get the right coach. I think that is also what has shot them in the foot. They have to get the right coach who can go in there and say, oh, you give me Justin Fields, we cooking. Because again, my division is not that strong regardless.
I'm going to say this, and I know we got to jet.
Yeah, we got to go.
Atlanta has not been the same since 28-3. Period. And I said this after the Super Bowl, they will never be the same after 28-3.
Yikes.
Never. They have never been the same. They will never be the same. And we all thought, okay, if you get rid of Matt, okay, that'd be fine. No.
And they tried to run. Remember, they also tried to run it back.
They tried to run it back. No. You will never be the same. You let 12 come back 25 points down in the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. You hosted a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Magic City was booming. that night.
Thank y'all for listening to
Lemon pepper wet. The peach
Flats
drink.
Only.
Yes.
You
Drinking with
blasted
your
it.
pinky cup out, with your pinky out, like, let me.
And look, could you have imagined? Atlanta will probably still be
They still be
celebrating their
partying
Super
right now
Bowl
on
win
Peachtree.
with all those all the music that has come out. Do you know how many Super Bowl post Super Bowl concerts Atlanta would have? They would still be partying now.
I
They
don't,
just now be getting a Goodie
know,
Mob having a Super Bowl, hosting a
bro.
Super Bowl
Listen, bro.
concert.
This would have made Outkast put out another
Oh, don't do that. Now you made me sad. No, I agree with you. I think Atlanta, to me, I think Atlanta is not too far off from where like Washington is, right? Like they have to get the QB and coach right. And that to me, similar to when we talk about the greats like an Andy Reid, like a Kyle Shanahan, like a McVay, that is important. You can have the right coach and not have the right quarterback.
album.
You
I would
have they're one of those teams where they have enough weapons. Washington has enough weapons. They definitely got to get that defense straight, but
you're
they
ab-
have enough weapons where if they can get that QB right, that coach QB,
I
we're
would
talking about Atlanta's now is a conversation we're having.
I would go even further and say this about Washington. They would never be the same after that. After that Kirk Cousins RG3 QB,
Oh yeah.
they would never be the same because the owner wanted RG3. Mike Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins.
Because that is what
Mike
that's the Shanahan
Kirk,
system guy.
Kirk Cousins was a system guy and he was insurance
Yeah.
for RG3 because they knew that RG3 was injury prone going into that draft because he already had an ACL tear when he was at Baylor.
Mhm.
And on top of that, that under wild card, you let him play still against Seattle, knowing that that Seattle team
Legion of Boom, Seattle.
was yes pre Legion of Boom. Like they really didn't start cranking up. They didn't know who they were when they
Right. I'm
went
about to
to
say that
Washington.
that was, but that was that
Correct.
Seattle defense.
That's what I'm saying. So RG3, let's just say RG. Let's just say if they still would have traded Kurt to Minnesota, and RG3 was healthy. RG3 right now would be wrapping up his career,
Yeah.
and you won't be having no QB controversy.
Yeah. Oh, I ditto. I 100% ditto that. Like,
Sam
and
Howell was supposed to be the second string quarterback, picking up, being a sponge to RG3 right now.
yes. Yeah, but and that's why I think and even the way the league is leaning and when you look at a lot of these successful coaches, it's unfortunately so far fewer of these defensive coaches that are having the same success that the offensive coaches are.
Mhm.
I think with the fact that you have this rookie QB who's tough, who has a real and Sam Howell has a really good arm,
Mhm.
it is very obvious again they need to get the right coach in the right system for Sam Howell.
Mhm.
We like you said next year we'll have in a different conversation. And same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta has to get the coach QB thing right. And I think when it comes to QBs for that young of an offense and those like you said those players they got money. Money ain't the problem. You know,
Nobody has a bag.
you get Justin. And I think and I do think I don't think Justin is washed. I definitely think he just was in a system that didn't work and a coach that didn't work. I think Justin Fields can absolutely be successful in a few other places, you know, again with the right coaching.
Yeah.
Um and so I think, you know, like I said, even when we talk NFC East, I think next year the opportunity for all three, if not four, to go to the playoffs is there because I know I looked at our schedule. You know, they just posted the home and away. I'm like, oh, we got the South bet. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, in my mind, 3. Dallas, Philly, Giants with a few more pieces. We should be able to beat at least 3 of the 4 NFC South teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the AFC North,
Mm-hmm.
right, next year. So it's still going to be competitive. I think, especially with the AFC. Like the AFC slapped around the NFC in a lot of games this year, so I think it'll be very interesting next year. But only time will tell. Look, we did our predictions. We've been on here for 2.5.
Yeah.
And anyone listening, this is technically what Brian and I normally do. We are good for an hour, 2-hour conversation about football. But
Yeah.
look, this is gonna be the new format. Look, we got wild card weekend this weekend, next weekend divisional round. We're gonna do this thing all the way up to the big game. And so I appreciate you hanging out with me for this long.
Absolutely.
And next week Sav just texted me, so he's like, look, I gotta come in and talk. I said, okay, Sav, we doing the same format. I'm gonna send it out, just hop on. And I told him, I was like, you probably should have just hopped on anyways, but I'm really excited about this weekend. It's gonna be interesting. I think we're gonna have an upset on the NFC and the AFC side. I don't know which one. I'll put it on Twitter, but I think we're gonna have one. But look, we got 2 NFC teams in the playoffs. My weekend will be made if both get knocked off. But no, I think it'll be good games. And to your Cowboys, look, put your foot on the gas and you can't let up. You can't drive it like an automatic, not a stick shift. You can't.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get in the first gear, then we're gonna get in the second. Dallas gonna have to come out based off of how they played winning teams. They got to come out because this Green Bay team is young. They don't have nothing to lose, and they it's the playoffs.
Correct.
It's the playoffs. So yeah, Brian, tell them where folks can find you and any last words.
Oh man, listen, Dak for MVP, man. I feel like this playoffs will solidify if Dak really will get the MVP number 1, number 2. You can find me at IG at King Henry 84. To Threads at King Henry 84, Twitter X at King Henry 84.
And we're fun on Twitter. We're gonna be fun this weekend.
Oh, yeah,
it's always fun.
And listen, may the best team win this weekend.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be some strange things. I just have a feeling it's gonna be some stranger things.
No, I definitely think this weekend will be fun. Like I said, I think we'll probably get. I think we'll only get one upset on both sides.
Yes.
I don't foresee us seeing a bunch of upsets. I think it may be 1 or 2 upsets. And I think it'll be very, very interesting to see what this divisional round looks like after this weekend. So catch us on there. It's Let's Talk Football. I done put the wrong ticker up there. I'm sitting there, we talking about it all, but it's Let's Talk Football with Sha'Niece and friends. We're gonna be here the next few Tuesdays, leading all the way up to the big game. Thanks, Brian, for hanging out with me. Y'all have a good one. Peace.